Hey everybody, I'm going to show you today how to make a seriously to die for Easter treat. These are chocolate covered Easter cream eggs. This is a recipe that a very good friend of mine's mom handed down to us. We used to make it all the time when we were little kids and they are seriously my favorite. I'm so excited to show you how to make them. I'm going to show you everything that you need. Pretty straightforward. We're going to get going. What you will need to make the chocolate covered Easter cream eggs is half a can of sweetened condensed milk, a half a cup of softened butter, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, some yellow food coloring, 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and 4 to 5 cups of icing sugar. So the first thing that you need is half a cup of softened butter. Salted or unsalted is fine, that's your preference. Our next ingredient is some vanilla extract. I have pure vanilla extract and it's 1.5 teaspoons. And now our third ingredient is half a cup of condensed milk, sweetened condensed milk. And pour that right into your mixing bowl. So now I'm just going to blend this all together with my hand. And now I'm just going to give my vanilla butter and condensed milk a little blend with a hand blender. So now we're going to add about 4 cups of icing sugar. And then we'll mix it in by hand and we'll use the blender in a minute here. So now I'm going to lay out a big piece of parchment paper and now I'm going to scoop my yolk out of the bowl onto it. So now I have my yolk and what I'm going to do is divide it into 3, as equal sections as possible. And I'm going to take then 1/3 of that and put it back in my bowl. This is going to be our yellow part of the yolk and about 7 drops of yellow food coloring. And then, because I like that organic yolk look, I'm going to add just a couple drops of red. And now we're going to give that a mix. So now we're going to form our yolks. What you're going to do is take a pinch of your yellow colored yolk and just roll it into a ball. And we'll just start placing them on our parchment paper. Now we're going to do the white part of our yolk, and I've got the other 2/3 of the yolk mixture. And just like you would with flour and pastry, I'm going to give it a little sprinkle of the icing sugar on the top just to help us roll it out. So now I'm going to use a pizza slicer, use whatever works for you, and I'm going to make what I've rolled here into a nice fairly even square, and I'm going to cut some even squares, so whatever works out for you for what you've rolled this into. Now I'm going to take my first piece of the outer yolk and I'm going to put my yellow yolk right in the middle and we're going to fold it right around, and this is where you get a little creative and you're going to form that into an egg shape, and you're going to let one side be flat and one side be rounded, and just start placing your egg shape on your parchment paper. I just sort of make the tip go like that and then round out the bottom once I have it on my parchment paper. So we're almost done here. It worked out perfectly even with the 1/3 and the 2/3, 1/3 of the yellow yolk and 2/3 of the white. Okay, so now you've got your yolks formed, and this requires a little bit of patience, but you're going to have to let it set in the fridge for about 2 hours so they get nice and firm because we're going to be dipping them in chocolate. Now it's time to prepare the chocolate shells for the eggs. You will need a 1/4 cup of butter, and I'm just melting it here in a double boiler. Then you will add 8 ounces of semi-sweet baker's chocolate, which is the whole package. And just stir it in until it's all melted. Now I've got my eggs out of the refrigerator, and I'm using a pair of tongs and dipping the flat side of the eggs in first. Then put them on a piece of parchment paper, chocolate side up. So now I've had the eggs in the fridge for an hour with the first coating of chocolate on the bottom, on the flat part. And now we're gonna do the rounded part of the eggs, and I'm gonna use a chopstick to do it. So I'm gonna put the chopstick right in the center, and I'm going to dip it in my chocolate. So we have our eggs in the fridge. They've been in for a couple hours, and not a mandatory part, but it's a nice decorative touch. We're going to add an icing decoration to it, and we'll need some icing sugar, 1½ cups, a 1/4 cup of butter, and the leftover of the condensed sweetened milk, which is about 1/4 of the can. So I'm gonna put my slightly melted and softened butter in the bowl here, and we're going to add the rest of our sweetened condensed milk right into that. And then 1 cup of icing sugar. And another 1/2 cup of icing sugar. And then you can adjust the consistency. You need it to flow fairly nicely. You're either gonna put it in an icing bag, or I'm gonna show you this cool little decorative tool that I found at a neat kitchen store. So now while I've got my decorative icing cooling, this is certainly, again, not necessary. I'm just trimming off the edges of the egg where the chocolate dripped down, just so they're nice, perfect eggs. And this, to me, is the finishing touch on these eggs that just makes them look really nice and festive. And we're just gonna do a squiggle back and forth like this. So there you go, homemade chocolate Easter cream eggs. I promise they will make you famous. They are absolutely delicious, easy to make, takes a bit of time. Enjoy them, share them with your friends. They're a great gift for Easter. Happy Easter, everyone. Hope everyone has a great weekend.